Central Bank Digital Currencies, CBDCs. What are they? The big answer is a whole lot of possibilities for modernization, for increasing financial access, and for disrupting legacy systems. But first, to be more concrete, central bank digital currencies are pretty much what they sound like. Central bank is a generic term for a financial ministry, monetary authority, or the government agency that is responsible for issuing a country's currency. Here in the US, the Federal Reserve Board issues dollars, which it prints as physical paper notes. I'll admit, it's been a while since I've actually touched cash. Many of us now lead our financial lives through cards, online accounts, mobile wallets, and other forms that rely on digital information. But even as we're making these very modern transactions, they're all premised on the idea that the cold, hard cash is still out there somewhere. You may have heard of fiat currency, and that's a useful term to understand. Less than a century ago, paper currency was an abstract representation of gold, the gold standard, or some other precious metal. Eventually, the central banks were like, come on, it's $1, we all know and accept that, and we don't really need to keep all this gold just sitting here at Fort Knox, right? And central banks switched to issuing money by decree, or fiat. So there's an obvious parallel here with digital currency. We don't need gold-backed cash anymore, but how much longer do we need to have the digital information about our deposit, credit, and other accounts backed by paper currency? Why can't the currency itself be digital? When Bitcoin arrived and other cryptocurrencies followed, we saw these whole new concepts of truly digital currencies and currencies that are not sovereign. These two ideas really shook up the status quo. Then, a few years ago, governments around the globe started to realize that digital currency was not something they could just keep ignoring. Since then, there's been a whole lot of research on CBDCs, and even a few countries with up and running pilots. But wait a minute, isn't decentralization the whole point of blockchain technology? How in the world could a central bank support DeFi? Well, CBDCs aren't going to be exactly the same as cryptocurrencies. They may use blockchain technology to various degrees and could differ a lot from country to country. Overall, they're still in a very early stage of development. The US has been especially cautious, in part because of the role the US dollar plays in the global economy as the world's primary reserve currency. If the Fed goofed that up, it could be very destabilizing. But the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston has already started collaborating with MIT and exploring hypothetical network models for building a digital dollar. Exactly how long it takes to get a digital dollar is still a big unknown. But here at Stronghold, we're not so concerned about that timeline. We're really more curious about what central bank digital currencies will mean for increasing access. How can we shape these new infrastructures so people with fewer privileges can gain new advantages? That's what really excites us, and we want to help shape these possibilities.